Flood concepts are some of my favorites because they have answers built in versus almost every coverage, and the number of ways that we can run them are endless. In this video, I'm going to break down my core 4 ways to run flood concepts and how they attack the primary coverages that we're going to see. We've got 3x1, we've got 2x2, 5-man pass protection, and 6-man pass protection. And if you stick around till the end, I'll have a bonus variation that adds even more versatility to the flood concept. Let's dive in. So we're starting in 3x1, and this is what I would consider probably the base way that we run flood. It may not be with an attached tight end, but we're going to have 3x1. We've done this a lot in the past with sprint out 2, where the running back would pick up off the edge as the quarterback is sprinting out, running the flood. But the primary way we would run it here would be F sail. So that means that the F is going to be on the sail route. We're going to go inside first, taking an inside stem up and then outside. I like the cut to be more of a speed turn, starting at 12 up to 15 yards. The outside receiver then is the Z. So he's going to run a blazer route, which starts out as a go route, but it's an option. He can break to the post, and my coaching point here is if the middle of the field is open, take it. And we'll talk more about that when we get to coverages. So we've got our F sail, that's the concept, F sail. Outside receiver then is running the blazer. Inside receiver then has the flat. On the backside, we're going to get a basic, just about a 12-yard square in. And I mentioned sprint out, but we're going to keep the quarterback in here and just run regular drop back. Between the two, I much prefer drop back passing. So here we have our full sail concept. The way we're going to read it is from the top down, blazer to sail to flat. That's our 1, 2, 3. Then we have a backside high-low. Obviously, we'd prefer to hit the basic, but we can hit the check down if we need to. Now, that's the numerical progression, but the way that I've really moved toward teaching the quarterback is more of a defender read. So the coaching point for him here is we're going to read the play side safety first. If he nails down on the sail, then the middle of the field should be open. The Z should be breaking. We should be catching this ball right on the hash. If the safety stays high, then we want to read the curl defender. He can't cover the sail and the flat, so whichever one he takes at that point, we're going to throw the opposite. That would be definitely starting standard cover 4. Now we keep those same coaching points kind of across the spectrum. They're primarily geared towards cover 4, but they also work against cover 3. Now what we're going to see cover 3 wise against this formation most often is the free safety kind of somewhere in between the center and the tight end. The biggest way he's a factor in that the middle of the field is closed. So the Z should stay on his go, which means that's going to be more of a matchup type of route where I'll more tell the quarterback if we want to throw that. I'm not just a huge fan of 50-50 type balls. So it becomes more of an alert at that point or a matchup. He's still going to peek it in case the corner trips or we just dust him off the line of scrimmage. But primarily, we're still going to work down to this curl defender. So kind of the same idea. We're reading the defender in this space. This space isn't open and we don't like the 50-50 shots, so we're going to go ahead and move down to the curl defender. Now, really the only zone coverage that can give this concept problems is cover 2, but we have 2 different answers built in here. So how cover 2 can give us trouble is the way we've been talking about reading it is we've got the safety down to the curl defender. The idea has been that the safety and the corner are both responsible for deep, which kind of isolates the curl defender down here. But in cover 2, the corner is not responsible for the go of number 1 here. So the corner could jump this flat route, which leaves the curl defender to stick on the sail route. So the 2 options we have built in here are if the quarterback sees it early enough, or if the corner they're playing maybe more of a trap kind of 2, then we can hit the whole shot in between right here on our Z blazer. Hit that area between where the corner's vacating, but the safety can't get quite over in time. If the quarterback recognizes it fast enough, which we hopefully should because the Z is our first read, then we can hit that. If we're having trouble getting to that point, that's where the backside comes in. So what we should be getting on this backside is a high-low on the backside inside linebacker. Again, if it's cover 2, then our weak side safety also has to stay high, which means he shouldn't be slamming down on the dig. The corner should have outside leverage if he is even involved at this point at all. The linebacker can't come up for the running back and sink underneath the basic. So if we're having trouble hitting the whole shot, then this would be our end. So that's how we would attack different zone coverages with flood. I love flood concepts because there's not really any zone coverage that gives you a defender at all 3 levels outside the hash. But if the defense is defending men, then zones aren't an issue. So the concept we just talked about was F-sail. One of the ways that we can affect man coverage would be switch releases. So instead of F-sail here, we could run Z-sail. That's going to put our Z on the sail route. Who's our next outside receiver? That would be the F. So he'd be on a blazer. And then our next inside receiver is still the Y. Nothing's going to change backside. Going to get our basic with our check release over. And now if the defense is playing man, they have to deal with a switch release. Maybe we add to the switch release with motion, bring the Z on some fly motion, get him a little running start to push vertically and then break out. Maybe we get into bunch and run a similar concept. And one more of my favorites from this same formation, if we're thinking about beating man coverage, would actually be Y-sail exchange. So exchange is a tag in the Shanahan McVay offense for switching responsibilities. So if we're running Y-sail exchange, that's going to put the Y on the sail, and then exchange says that we are going to swap responsibilities for the F and the Z. So normally the outside receiver is on the blazer. Our inside receiver here is going to run the blazer. That's the F, which means our Z then is responsible for the flat. Well, you can't really run outside here as the number 1 receiver, so we're going to treat this like a smoke screen, and now we essentially have slot fade flood. And this is one of the main reasons I love flood. Again, it has answers for every coverage, whether it's zone, whether it's man. We don't have to totally change our concept whenever we face a man coverage defense. We might tag them a little bit differently. We might formation or motion them a little bit differently, but we can still run the same concept. All right, let's say we want to stay in trips, but maybe our running back is our best athlete and we want to not lose him in the pass protection, get into a 5-man pass protection. What can we do? And there are still tons of different ways to do this, but if I'm just thinking about, it's spring install season right now, what are the base ways that we're going to run this concept where we're not changing much for anybody? For me, we can run F or Z ship. And it's the same idea. The receiver that we tag is going to run the sail. So if we're running F ship, then he would run the sail route. Outside receiver is going to run the blazer. But the difference with ship and sail is that ship is sail plus shallow. So ship starts with SH, kind of sounds like shallow to begin with. Still thinking about water. So the Y here, the inside receiver is going to run a shallow, and now the running back is going to be responsible for our flat. Nothing changes for the quarterback in terms of the read. We've got deep, intermediate, shallow, and then we still have our backside high-low with our basic shallow combination. Right, now we're in 2x2, and I very rarely ever see true flood from 2x2. What we see often is Y cross, which is, yes, a flood concept. And if you want to know more about Y cross, be sure to subscribe to the channel because that's going to be a future video coming up very soon. Y cross is weak side flood, but that doesn't mean that we can't just run regular flood concepts out of 2x2. And if we want to get there with a 6-man pass protection, I would run captain. So again, think about sail, shallow. We're thinking about water related terms. What is a captain when it comes to the water? The captain is the person who drives the ship. Drive. So we're going to have sail plus drive. If we run F captain, the next outside receiver, which in our stack here would be the X, is going to run the blazer. And now we're going to get drive. We're going to occupy the flat with a shallow coming from the opposite side. And then we still have our backside basic. I don't always see it considered as drive whenever the number 1 receiver is on the basic. I believe it is, but we could also even go Z fly with it and exchange the backside. So bring the Z in quick, put the Y on the basic and the Z on the shallow. Either way, nothing has changed for the quarterback. It's still flood, still that water related term for him. We've got our top down progression, 1, 2, 3. backside basic as the 4, and then our check down as the 5 to complete this backside high-low. And if we want to get the running back involved, we can run boat. So boat is going to be 5-man protection where the running back is in the flat. And the reason I love the boat tag here is because bow is one of my favorite concepts. You've seen even the backside high-low in these concepts we've been talking about. And what bow is in the Shanahan McVay system, we've got a basic from the outside receiver and the grab hook coming right underneath it. So we still have that same idea of the backside high-low on that backside linebacker. He can't sink under the basic and cover the grab route. So boat is the perfect term for sail plus bow. And if you've stuck around this long, hopefully you have gotten some value from this video. If you have, please click that like button. That just lets YouTube know that you think that other coaches should be watching this video as well. And last but not least, we've got our bonus formation here, or bonus concept. We can also run flood. If it wasn't good enough already, we can also run it out of 2 back. So with the F on the 2 receiver side here, we can run Y sail. So that would again put our Y on the sail route. Our outside receiver is the Z. He's on the blazer. The inside receiver would be the F coming from the backfield. And then we still have our check over with the running back coming right underneath our backside basic. If we still want to get the running back involved, we can put the F on the weak side. That would make our running back the play side flat player. And then this would be boat. So the F would trickle out and run his grab hook on the backside. So flood concepts are incredibly versatile in that we can get to them from any formation set, whether it's 3x1, 2x2, or even 2 back. And we have easily accessible answers versus any problem coverage a defense can throw at us.